Trayce Jackson Davis was a four-star recruit when he graduated high school in 2019. He committed to Indiana and went on to play 4 seasons for the Hoosiers. Jackson Davis started 126 games for the Hoosiers and increased his scoring output from 13.5 points per game as a freshman to 20.9 points per game as a senior. He also racked up awards in his time in Indiana, being named to the All-Big Ten team 4 times and capturing consensus All-American honors in his senior season. All that is to say, Jackson Davis was a highly productive college player. His NBA prospects are a bit murky at this time though. Jackson Davis played more of a traditional big man type role at Indiana, a role that has lost a lot of value at the NBA level over recent years. But it's still clear that Jackson Davis has the talent, and he is currently being mocked as an early second round pick in this upcoming draft. The biggest strength for Jackson Davis is his ability to score in the paint. Jackson Davis is listed at 6'9", 240 pounds. Solidly built for a power forward for sure, but nothing crazy by NBA standards. But he definitely plays bigger than he's listed. Jackson Davis is great at taking advantage of mismatches around the basket. He has soft hands to catch entry passes, and guys just seem to bounce off of him as he pushes his way towards the basket. He also has some nice footwork that allows him to take advantage of little fakes and create an angle for a good shot around the basket. It seems the only way to stop him once he gets a mismatch down low is to send a double team at him. He is a decent passer and has a solid handle, but sending the double can fluster him into turnovers at times. You don't see a ton of big guys with traditional post moves anymore, but Jackson Davis has definitely perfected this part of his game. Another strength for Jackson Davis is shot blocking. Jackson Davis has solid size as mentioned before and good length with a 7'1" wingspan. What really sets him apart from other big guys as a shot blocker is his timing. Jackson Davis does a really good job at meeting the ball on the way up without fouling. He isn't the quickest guy, but he almost seems to bait guys into going by him at times just so he can erase their shot around the basket. For perspective on how prolific of a shot blocker Jackson Davis was in college, he finished tied for 4th in all of Division I men's basketball in block shots per game this past season, racking up 2.9 blocks per game a season after he blocked a very healthy 2.3 per game. Jackson Davis made it basically a no-fly zone around the basket while he was on the floor for Indiana. It will be exciting to see if he's able to transfer this ability to the NBA level. One weakness for Jackson Davis is lateral quickness. As covered earlier, Jackson Davis is incredible as a shot blocker around the basket. But if you can pull him away from the basket and force him to defend in space, it can become a struggle. Jackson Davis just doesn't have the foot speed to stay in front of quick players on the perimeter. He's able to compensate for this a bit by blocking shots at times if players get by him, but other times he is just left in the dust. Coaches can combat this deficiency by playing him in drop coverage, but that will open up opportunities for open three-pointers. There is certainly value to being a great shot blocker, but if teams are going to pick on a defender, they're going to throw Jackson Davis in a pick and roll and force him to defend in space. Another weakness for Jackson Davis is shooting. The one caveat to this weakness for Jackson Davis is that he basically never shot the ball outside of the free throw line in college. Across 4 seasons at Indiana, Jackson Davis took a grand total of 3 3-point attempts and made 0 of them. Jackson Davis is a guy that knew his strength was scoring around the basket and did everything possible to never shoot farther away from it. There are some reports that he has displayed an ability to shoot in workouts, but there's a big difference between being able to shoot in practice and being able to shoot in games. Jackson Davis has solid touch around the basket and is a decent free throw shooter, shooting just a shade under 70% from the line his senior year. So there is maybe some potential there, but until Jackson Davis displays an ability to shoot outside of 10 feet, teams are going to leave him alone on the perimeter. This first clip displays some of Jackson Davis's ability to score around the basket. The play starts with Jackson Davis receiving the pass near the block. Indiana clears out the right side of the floor, and Jackson Davis goes to work on the smaller defender. He takes 2 strong dribbles to back his defender in, then executes a nice drop step into a layup. Jackson Davis might not be much of a shooter, but he's a professional at scoring around the basket. This next clip shows how Jackson Davis can struggle as a shooter. The play starts with Jackson Davis getting the feed on the block. He takes 1 dribble to his left, then tries spinning back to his right for a short jumper, but he barely gets iron on the shot. Jackson Davis just looks generally uncomfortable taking any type of jump shot. He's going to have to prove that he has some kind of jump shot before teams start respecting him outside of a few feet. Trayce Jackson Davis is one of the more interesting cases in this upcoming draft class. He was incredibly productive and decorated in college, and is highly effective at the things he is good at. The problem is the things he excels at aren't necessarily valuable skills in the NBA currently. Jackson Davis is a monster scoring around the basket in a league that is increasingly perimeter-oriented, and his shot blocking ability is valuable, but he can be exploited defensively if you pull him further from the basket. I think for Jackson Davis to really find a role in the NBA consistently, he'll either have to display an ability to shoot or become a really good rim runner. Otherwise, he seems like more of a matchup-oriented play from a coach's perspective. My NBA comp for Trayce Jackson Davis is a smaller Robin Lopez. Robin is more of a throwback big. He relies on his size, footwork, and touch around the basket to score. He also has been a nice shot blocker when given regular minutes across his career. Robin Lopez spent time as a starter and also as a regular bench player throughout his career. I think this seems like a realistic path for Trayce Jackson Davis.